Good morning, friends, and welcome. I have a story to share with you today. It's a very meaningful story. Well, at least to me, it's very, very meaningful. So hang in here with me for the next few minutes and share in the story. You know, with Easter upon us, I paid a visit this morning to the cemetery. So for Easter, we are here at the final resting place, the memorial, if you will, of two of my favorite people, two people who mean so much to me in my life, and yet they are two people who have gone on from this life. You know, and I guess all of us have people like that, don't we? People that meant so much to us and mean so much to us, people that we love, and yet they've gone on, whether it's grandparents, parents, children, other close friends or relatives, they've gone on, and we miss them. Well, right here is the final resting place of my maternal grandparents, my mom's mother and father. Here is Louis Wayne Rains and Ella Louise Duncan Rains, fondly known to most of us as Papa and Gigi Rains. And I miss them. Well, as I said there, I know that all of us have people in our lives that are so meaningful and mean so much to us, who we love and we miss because they've gone on before us. But I also believe that there are two fundamental beliefs that we as people have, and I think that many of us hold, it may be even most of us, possibly even all of us, hold these two beliefs about those who have gone on before us. And that is, number one, we believe they are now in a better place. And number two, we believe that someday we shall be together with them again. You know, thinking about Papa and Gigi Rains, I have so many wonderful, joyful, fond memories of them, the things they shared with me of their life, the things I got to share with them. You know, I remember when we were little kids and we would be all dressed up for church, like on Easter or Mother's Day, things like that, and we would go visit Papa and Gigi after church in the afternoons, and of course they would be all dressed up too from church. Papa actually was a preacher, and that was time for us to be with them, and on Mother's Day, time for my mother to be with her mother. But Easter and other special family days, we would be there on Sunday afternoon. I remember my brother, my sister, and I, and our cousins playing outside in Papa and Gigi's yard and having a great fun time together. I remember things like the spring and summer evenings and being up at their house with the windows open. I guess that was pre-central air conditioning, you know, but they would have the windows open and they would be listening to the radio. Now, later on it was TV, but early on it was the radio, and they'd be listening to the baseball game, listening to the Atlanta Braves play ball. Now, I remember that so well. You know, just a few hundred yards from their house was a railroad track. And when I'd be up there, it was so much fun in the afternoon, so exciting, so adventurous to walk down that railroad track. You would think you were walking halfway across the world. It was amazing. But one of the most favorite memories I have is lying in bed at night with those windows up, trying to go to sleep and thinking about that train track. You know, now I was lying in bed in the boys' room. You see, Gigi had one bedroom that she decorated for the grandsons. And when any of us would come and stay overnight with them, we would sleep in the boys' room. And then she had another bedroom that she decorated for the granddaughters. And that was the girls' room for when any of the granddaughters would come to stay overnight. So I'd be lying there in the boys' room asleep, and the windows are getting ready to go to sleep, and those windows up, and you'd hear that train coming down the track, and you hear that whistle blow. And, you know, I guess that had to be a nuisance to them, had to be an annoyance, but they said they got used to it. But for me, it's one of those wonderful, precious memories. And so that now when I see a train go by or hear that whistle blow, I think of being up there at their house with them. Well, so many good memories. You know, my cousin Jimmy and I would stay weeks in the summer up with Papa and Gigi, and Papa would take us up to the lake in the evening on the houseboat, and we'd go fishing, and Gigi would take us in the afternoon up to the beach so we could swim and play and have fun there. And I remember Papa would take us to the Chili Dog Diner for lunch. Man, boy, we could snarf down those foot-long chili dogs, I tell you. Couldn't do that today. But it's so many good memories of things they did with us and did for us. You know, Papa's been passed away. He passed away in 1984. He's been gone quite a few years. And I want to share with you, you know, it wasn't long after he had passed away that I experienced something. Something happened, and I need you to know about it. I haven't told very many people about it, but one afternoon, shortly after he had passed away, I was cruising down the road in my Chevy Camaro. Oh, those were the days. I was cruising down the road, and all of a sudden, the car was filled with the fragrance, the aroma of Papa Raines' pipe tobacco. Now, in his later years, you see, Papa smoked a pipe. In his younger days, like everybody else in the world in those days, I guess, he smoked cigarettes. But as you know, the fragrance, the aroma of pipe tobacco is so different from that of cigarette smoke. And I'm driving down the road in my car all by myself. I'm the only one in there, and all of a sudden, the car is just filled with the aroma of Papa's pipe tobacco. And then, listen, then I had this feeling come over me that someone else is in that car with me. I mean, it was just an awesome feeling. You know that feeling you get when you're in a room and someone enters the room. You don't necessarily see them, but you know someone came in, or you have that feeling that somebody's watching you. Maybe it's Mom with the eyes in the back of her head, but you know somebody is there. And I had that sense that someone was in that car with me. And I turned my head and I looked over at the passenger seat, and no, I'm not going to tell you Papa Raines was sitting there. You wouldn't believe me if I did anyway, right? But no. He was not physically sitting there. I couldn't reach out and touch him physically. But with every other sense that I had, with all of my being, I knew completely, I knew full well that Papa Raines was in that car with me. He was there that afternoon. For quite a few minutes, I could just sense his presence. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't care if you tell me, Alan, that's not logical. Alan, that doesn't make sense. Alan, I don't believe it. Alan, it was just your imagination. I don't care what you say. Nothing you can say will dissuade me from my belief that Papa Raines was in that car with me. His essence was there. His being was there. And I'll tell you how I know that. Because I lived it. I experienced it. I was there. Well, you know, when I was getting ready to prepare to talk about on this video for Easter, I had quite a few conversations with people, and I also looked on YouTube, searched things about Easter. Thanks for watching YouTube, by the way. I had several conversations and found lots and lots of videos about things we do for Easter, what we do for Easter. I mean, there were videos and conversations about, what we're having for Easter dinner, how I decorate the house for Easter, how I decorate the dining room table, the Easter egg hunt with the kids, a surprise visit from the Easter bunny. And my personal favorite is getting to nibble on that chocolate eggs or those chocolate bunny for Easter. And all of those things are fun, and all of those things are awesome, and they are joy filled. And certainly Easter should be a time of joy and celebration for us. But you know, those beliefs that we have, that those who have passed on before us are now in a better place, and that we will be with them again someday, those beliefs do not come from what we do for Easter. Those beliefs that most of us all share do not come from what we do for Easter. Instead, they come from what Easter does for us. Christians for centuries, and Christians yet today all across the world, celebrate the fact that nearly 2,000 years ago, a person lived named Jesus, and He was killed, He was buried, and then through the power of God, He overcame the grave. He rose again. He lived again. And people saw Him. I mean, listen, I know 2,000 years ago is so long ago. I mean, we are so far removed from that in space and time and distance. So let's think, if we were 1,500 years in the past right now, and so that it was only 500 years ago that happened. No, I guess 500 years. Still a long time, isn't it? I mean, think about the United States of America is not even 500 years old yet. So it's still too long. Maybe if it was just, if this was 1900 years ago and it was just, had taken place 100 years before now, and say you're sitting out on a hillside like I was there at the cemetery. You're sitting with your children and your grandchildren, and you're telling them, I want you to know something. I want you to know when I was a little boy, I knew people who were older than me, but they said they saw Jesus. They knew Him before He died, but then they saw Him again several times after He died. He came back to life. I remember old man so-and-so lived down the street from us, and I could hardly ever walk past his house without him saying, let me tell you about I saw Jesus. I saw Him alive. Well, maybe 2,000 years is too much. What if it was just 2 years ago? What if it was just 2 years ago and you're sitting on the hillside with your children and your grandchildren and you're able to tell them, you know that man you've heard about, Jesus? I saw Him. And nothing anybody can do, if they say it's not logical, it doesn't make sense, I don't believe it, it's just your imagination, nothing anyone can say to me is going to change my mind, is going to dissuade me from what I know that I saw. Because I lived it. I experienced it. I saw Him. Well, that's where our beliefs, I think, come from. Of those who've passed before us are in a better place. And we shall be with them again someday. Those things don't come from what we do for Easter. Although, I hope you and your family have a joy-filled Easter. I hope it's a happy, happy time for you. I hope you enjoy finding those Easter eggs, get a surprise visit from the Easter Bunny, celebrate wonderfully. But in that joy, I hope you also take a few minutes to contemplate the hope of Easter. The hope that it comes not from what we do for Easter, but for what Easter does for us.